Our next topic of learning would be the theories of economic justice, which is topic 2. At the end of this topic, students will be able to identify the theories of economic justice, define distributive justice, retributive justice, and compensatory justice. They should be able to also explain utilitarianism, egalitarianism, socialism, and libertarianism. Now, what are these theories basically? As the relationship between business and ethics is a debatable issue, many theories have evolved over the period to bring about an accepted balance in order to justify the relationship. Everything may be fair in love and war, but when it comes to economic justice, no one single theory can be completely accepted. Economists like Adam Smith was of the viewpoint that the main objective of business establishment was to earn profits and they have nothing to do with ethics. And in pre-medieval times, churches decided what was just and moral. And as industrial revolution was adopted, more new concepts, thoughts and reasoning came into being. Globalization and technology and communication broadened the viewpoints of economic justice. Justice and fairness are usually divided into 3 categories. Distributive justice, the first and basic category, is concerned with the fair distribution of systems, the benefits and the burdens. Retributive justice, the second category, it refers to the just imposition of punishments and penalties on those who do wrong. Compensatory justice, the third category, concerns the just way of compensating people for what they lost when they were wronged by others. These theories of justice have their own applications and seem acceptable based on the situations that arise. Now, to have a better understanding on the theories of economic justice, let us go on to identify the theory of distributive justice. This theory was founded by the single value of justice and was proposed by John Rawls. Economic justice finds people in competition for scarce resources and a need to satisfy themselves fairly. To do justice is to give each person what he or she deserves or is owed. If there were enough goods to satisfy everyone's desires and enough people willing to share society's burdens, then conflicts between people would not arise and distributive justice would not be needed at all. The fundamental principle of distributive justice is that equals should be treated equally and unequals treated unequally. One simple principle that people often use to decide who should receive a limited or a scarce good is first come, first served principle. There are 4 principles called utilitarianism, egalitarianism, libertarianism, and socialism. The second theory is the theory of retributive justice. This theory believes in giving punishment based on the wrong done by the individual. The more serious the nature of an offense and more it is done intentionally, more should be the punishment. This shows the belief that man can err, but when done with situations beyond his control, through external forces acting upon him, he should be excused. The third theory is a theory of compensatory justice. According to this theory, when a person is harmed by others, he needs to be protected and brought back to normalcy so that in future he does not lose faith in society and does not go astray for the suffering he may have endured. So these 3 theories have their own way of projecting different thoughts which are accepted by some and not by others. Now, to go back to the first theory, distributive justice, let us go in detail. This theory is based on the distribution of scarce resources in the best possible way to one and all with less dissatisfaction. Many a times such fairness may not happen due to practical difficulties and priority changes. In normal circumstances, shelter can be a priority for a man, but during war, his concern will be life and security, and so priorities change. A hungry man may forego his food to treat an ill person when there is a threat to life. So these examples do explain to us that distributive justice itself has got different notions towards it. It has got 4 viewpoints that requires understanding. The first one is known as the utilitarianism. It is also referred to as a consequential approach and sometimes as a utilitarian approach. It is in general, it means that for any view that holds that actions and policies should be evaluated on the basis of the benefits and costs they will impose on society. In any situation, the right action or policy is the one that will produce the greatest net benefits or the lowest net costs. It is a theory that advocates selection of that action or policy that maximizes benefits or minimizes costs. Many business analysts hold that the best way to evaluate the ethical propriety of a business decision or any other decision is by relying on utilitarian cost-benefit analysis. The principle assumes that all the benefits and costs of an action can be measured on a common numerical scale and then added or subtracted from each other. The benefits of this theory is that it is very attractive in terms of government practices and projects. It is compatible to the intuitive criteria that people employ when discussing moral conduct. It enables to explain the concepts that are morally wrong, like lying, adultery, killing, over the morally right, like telling the truth, fidelity, keeping one's promises. Cost-benefit analysis enables in determining the desirability of investing in a project by understanding whether its present and future economic benefits outweigh its present and future economic costs. But this theory has got its own limitations. The first one is that the utilities of different actions for different people must be measured and evaluated, which is practically difficult. Next, the benefits and costs seem intractable to measurement. Example, how do you value health or measure life? Benefits and costs of an action cannot be reliably predicted. They also cannot be adequately measured. It is also unclear what is to count as a benefit and a cost. Now, to moving on to the next theory or the viewpoint called as egalitarianism. This theory advocates that every person should be given exactly equal shares of a society or a group's benefits and burdens, and there are no relevant differences among people that can justify unequal treatment. It is based on their view that each person has an equal claim to society's good, and equality has appeared in many as an attractive social ideal and inequality as a defect. Hence, all human beings are equal in fundamental respects. In practice, there is no quality that all human beings possess in precisely the same degree. They differ in intelligence, virtues, needs, desires, abilities, and all other mental and physical characteristics. Also, if everyone is given the same things, then the lazy people will get as much as the industrious one. Hence, every person has a right to the minimum standard of living, and income and wealth should be distributed equally until the standard is achieved. Socialism is the next viewpoint, and the socialist principle can be understood as a work burden to be distributed according to the people's abilities and benefits to be distributed on the basis of their needs. The fundamental socialist view is that societies should be communities in which benefits and burdens are distributed on the model of a family. The principle states that just as able family members willingly support the family, so also the able members of a society should contribute their abilities to society by taking up its burdens, while the needy should be allowed to share in its benefits. The disadvantages are that there should be no relation between the amount of effort a worker puts forth and the amount one receives, that is, the remuneration, would depend on the need and not the effort. It will be unrealistic to conceive the idea of society to familial relationships, and lastly, if socialistic principles are implemented, it will absorb the individual freedom. The next thought is about libertarianism, and this theory claims that no particular way of distributing goods can be said to be just or unjust apart from the free choices the individuals make. It is the most basic distributive justice. This principle is based on the claim that every person has a right to freedom from coercion that takes priority over all other rights and values. The point is that any distribution that is just is one that results from free individual choices, and any distribution that results from an attempt to impose a certain pattern on society will therefore be unjust. The criticism is that other form of freedom must also be secured, and it will generate unjust treatment of the disadvantaged, underprivileged, and the weaker section of a society. The second theory, which is the retributive justice, believes in that when a person does a wrong, he should be punished accordingly, so that he is made to realize his mistakes, understands the injury he has done to others, does not repeat the same mistake, and in future this will be considered as a lesson to others. Such offences are identified by the moral standards fixed, and with the help of law and society, the punishment is meted out. Certain conditions of just punishment to be followed are: ignorance and inability are considered relevant in determining the justice of punishment. If people do not know what they are doing, they cannot be punished or blamed for it. Certitude that the person being punished actually did wrong, that is, there is no flimsy or incomplete evidence. The reasons must be consistent and proportioned to the wrong. Same penalty for the same infraction. The third theory is the compensatory theory, which is also known as the compensatory justice. It concerns the justice of restoring to a person what the person lost when he or she was wronged by someone else. The general conception is that when one person wrongfully harms the interest of another person, the wrongdoer has a moral duty to provide some form of restitution to the person he or she wronged. However, some lessons are learned from this particular theory. That is, the losses are impossible to be measured. The wrongdoer should pay for the material damages or the loss inflicts on the injured person or his immediate family. And this theory is on the other side of retributive justice. When a wrongdoer is punished automatically, the aggrieved party is compensated. Such compensation can be either money damages or specific performance or imprisonment. To have a better understanding, certain basic examples that we can follow in our day-to-day lives could be that first come, first served. This policy is adopted in retributive justice when the resources are scarce. And the theory of economic justice underlying American capitalism has tended to emphasize contribution to society along with merit and hard work as the basis of distribution. Market system is an economic condition in which prices and wages fluctuate according to demand and supply. Hence, equal share of benefits and burdens is not expected. In Shariat law, when a person is killed by another, the offender will have to pay diya money, also known as blood money, to the family of the killed so that they get compensated for the loss suffered. This is to pardon the crime. But some families may refuse the money and fail to pardon, instead seek punishment to be carried. Public distribution system, or the PDS, is a government policy adopted to serve the poor with goods and services at subsidized rates and to the rich at a higher price. This dual pricing system can bring about equality among halves of those people who may possess or not possess essential products. Example, government hospitals providing quality medical services at low cost compared to private hospitals. So in conclusion, the second topic is a basic idea about the theories of justice. The next topic, we will be moving on to learning ethics and how to make ethical business decisions. Thank you.